This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission 250.
We're here, guys. We made it. We made it to some good movies on this list. It's been like 209 movies.
Yeah,
it's been a long trail. And now we get to watch Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
I mean,
that's
1991,
right.
directed by Jim Cameron himself. You know, if you know him, you get to call him Jim.
Jimmy
James.
It's Jim.
Jimmy
if you know him, it's
Should
Jim.
we mention who we are and what we do or something? Or we just not even give a shit
Do we
anymore?
ever do
No
that?
one cares.
What do you think?
No one cares.
Sometimes we used to. I remember
No one
those
cares.
days.
Like 2
when
years
we
ago.
were trying to brand ourselves, trying to get subscribers. Those are the old days.
But that was before we quit social media and all that stuff.
That is true.
Right.
That is true.
Got too
All right,
old.
fine.
You know, it's easy to
This is
quit.
Mission 250 Filmcast. We watch all the best
That's
movies
right.
ever. We're actually on list this
We do.
time. We watched 209 movies, by the way, on the
Right.
list,
Wow.
plus like
Yes.
150 bonus movies.
Hey,
So-
I just want to add,
Isn't that
Mission
crazy?
250
Yeah.
Filmcast.
Wait, not 200.
well, no.
Sorry. I fucked up the math there. But John, go ahead.
Oh,
This is
I
about
can't
knocking
do
talking
that.
over people.
I'm talking over
Anyway.
you. It's
Yeah,
just talking
fine.
over you, John.
Oh, yeah, I
That's
gave
it. Me
TC and John notes.
Me and Denny
Yeah,
are
give the big
fine.
old
It's
lecture.
Shut up a
just
little
You
bit
you.
talk
more.
over people. But
It's
then I
just
just
you.
try to talk. I have some things to say. but
Old habits
no.
die hard, John. Really hard.
Not fair.
What do you got? My math was bad.
What?
It was incorrect.
What? Well, I just wanted to say some, things that are special. That's all.
What's special?
What? Well,
Oh, we don't want to ruin the episode. Come on.
right.
Is this going to be sappy? Should we save it for the end?
I even took notes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
took.
It's the wrong movie to be sappy.
No,
Come
no.
on.
I took. No. Wait. No. This will fit. I took a note here. I did.
One note. He's got one note. All right,
Um,
here we go.
I did.
Hey.
All right. Mission
got?
250 Filmcast. It won't get drunk and beat you. And in an insane world, it's the sanest choice.
What?
Whoa, what?
It's a fucking quote from the movie.
Which movie?
The one we
this
just
movie?
watched. Did you not
It won't
watch the
get
same
drunk and
movie I
beat
did?
you? Oh, the
Yeah.
dad? I guess.
No,
Oh,
no,
that's
like,
true.
Like,
When
one
she's
of the
looking after it,
voiceovers,
when she's looking on
she's
at him.
looking at him
Yeah,
at
and
the
then she
Terminator
leaves,
taking
and
care
then
of her
she
son.
leaves.
Yeah.
She's speculating how he's not a
You
deadbeat
see,
dad.
John, you're in the position of having just watched the movie itself. I watched the movie, and then I watched it again with one commentary track, and then I watched it yet again with the second
Jesus,
commentary track. So I'm a
why?
little distant from the movie itself when it comes
Well,
to
I'm here
because
to
I love
bring
this.
you
This
back.
is why,
So
TC,
say
this
thanks,
is why
John.
we're doing this,
Don't
by the
be,
way.
like, mad at me.
I'm making you do this to give me an excuse to watch commentary tracks. That's what this
be a
entire
nutcase.
thing is about.
Yeah, I see.
Oh my God! Wow,
You pulled one over on
I
me.
did.
get
I
it.
think I
you're
told
gonna
you
have
this before,
lots
too.
to talk about.
Oh, John,
That'll be awesome.
it will be. It's awesome. TC,
fine.
Yeah.
it's your turn to go first this week.
So, I mean, this was a fun one, I have to say. I mean, I hate to use the F word, but it's fucking, I mean, it is just a nonstop chase scene.
How many have you seen this many times? I assume?
I mean, when I was a kid, I've seen it for sure. Like, I mean, this is the one that I know of, right? I don't even know if I've seen actually retained any of the first one.
We watched it on the list.
No,
Like,
I'm
we
just
did
saying,
4
like, I
years
don't know if
ago.
I've retained it
Even then.
because, like, when this came on, I was like, oh, this is the one I know, right?
yeah, that's the one with the guy with the thing.
Yeah, this is the thing. This is the one where the guy looks like my dad. That's the
Oh,
worst part.
really?
Got the
What?
same haircut.
The
Yeah.
Which
bad
one?
Terminator guy
My
looks like your dad?
the T8. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
the metal guy?
the
The
T1000.
T1000
Liquid?
or something. Yeah,
Yes.
the T1000. Sorry, the
Yeah.
T1000. Liquid guy. How about those
Liquid guy.
CGs? Huh? How about that graphic? What?
You love it?
Good stuff. No, I mean, it wasn't.
It hasn't
It's
aged
so old.
particularly well, but it
I
looks
mean,
better than
it
Oh,
some
did-
stuff.
I thought the metal
awfully.
aged well. The metal parts, the
I mean,
the
yeah,
morphine
when he
guy
goes
stuff.
through her
Oh,
face.
yeah. Still good.
Oh, there's a lot of those moments where you're just like, oh,
Still works
I thought
really
it was
well.
good, man. I definitely was able to get involved in it. When I was like, there were some points where it's just so funny. And it's not
Yep.
really meaning to be funny, but it's just so funny.
I think it
Like, the
does mean to
stuff
be
that
funny.
yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, some of it's
Like,
so
what parts do you
outlandish.
mean? What do
Some
you
of
think
those
is-
like some of those chase scenes in the LA River there.
Oh, that was
in
just
the
fucking
cement.
awesome.
Oh my god, it was so good when the truck comes over the top.
Yeah. When he rides the motorcycle off the fucking bridge.
I
just
know.
lands
I
it.
know. And then lands perfectly.
Yep.
No, I thought it was just a fun ride. I mean, it is just, I mean, for the first half of the movie, you really don't have a chance to even take a breath. It's like, it's just nonstop. And then it gets that lull at about an hour and 15, which was fine. I needed a break.
Yeah.
And then it gets really fucking loud at the end. Like they saved all the loudest shit for the end for sure. Like it built all the way linearly, and then it was just so fucking loud. Everything was loud. It was I had a good time, man. I really did. I remember being a kid. I was like, this was awesome back then. It's awesome now. And my girlfriend's younger brother watched it with me because he was staying over her house. And honestly, he had never even thought about it. He's like, so what's going on again? And then he shut up and he just started watching it. And then at the end, he was just like, hey, that was worth the watch. So it's one of those movies that it really doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't even really matter who you are, or how young or how old you are. If you like action movies at all, this one is a stunner. And all the little metal stuff was creepy.
Really, really
good. Had a horror
Like,
movie element to it. With the way that was.
Like I feel like they did shit like that on the X-Files
and stuff
all the time, right? Like shapeshifters and creepy stuff.
And your dad did a good job. He really.
I mean, he did, right?
Terrence
I mean,
Sr.
ultimately, that was a really fun movie to watch. I would probably watch it again. I just, I thought I love when she's she's stuck in the psych ward, and then she's just planning her escape, and then she gets over the fucking desk. It's like, yeah, get that motherfucker. I'm like so rooting for her to get out, the entire time. I will say I don't know if I remembered the entire movie. So some of the story stuff I definitely don't remember. So this was kind of like the first time watching it with a story. I just remember as a kid watching the fun
action
parts.
scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I had a good time with it. I don't know about you guys, but I had a blast. So as far as like production value and all that, it's amazing, but I don't have anything specific that I was, like, oh, I got to write that one down.
I got some. I mean, a lot of it. Watching this again, I thought when I was a kid and now that a lot of it was CG, but like listening to them point out shots, they blend practical effects so extremely well with CG in this movie. It's like mind blowing. There are shots that are totally practical that I thought was CG, and it happens all the time.
I'll be interested to hear about those then.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm done.
You're done.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie is so good that like, this is one of the most memorable movies, I think, from my childhood too, especially that nuke scene, So, a symbol of a good movie when you've mentioned the movie to your therapist at one point, that means it's like a good movie because it affected you that much.
So like, what's the conversation? How does that start? Like, hey, so I was watching Terminator 2 the other day. Like,
so it's just like in the Terminator.
Yeah, right.
It just doesn't work. How?
Yeah. It was weird. I was at work and I was in an argument with a coworker and it was just like Terminator.
To shoot him up with some Drano.
Yeah, right.
I thought, whoa.
Yeah,
this is
it was unreal. It was unreal. I just felt like Terminator in that movie,
That's right. Yeah.
I was doing pull-ups in the psych ward, and I was like, "Damn, I feel like Sarah Connor."
Yeah. So I was in line at McDonald's. Me and lick my face again because that really pisses me off.
Yeah, that was fucking weird,
dude. In one of the commentary tracks, the casting director was talking about how she was the stand-in for that scene, and they had a bunch of dudes come in to try out for that scene, and the tryout was licking her face. The casting director's face was like over and over again, and everyone else on like whatever crew they have for casting was just like, how can you do this? And then she said, I was actually having a pretty good time.
Sort of maybe enjoying their discomfort, I guess. Sort of. It's
like this is pretty funny.
Are you here for the part? Yeah, okay, all right. Well, what you do is I want you to go over there and I want you to lick her.
Yeah, yeah. No, on her face right now.
That's gross for her, but also
she's
imagine the dude, like the seventh dude in line. He's like, there's like six other dudes.
No, they got it all wiped down.
We wipe it down. But you go and lick like you like it.
But if it's wiped down, then it's like it's pure alcohol, like an alcohol wipe. It just tastes like alcohol.
God.
I'm sure maybe like 2 or 3 of those guys are like, nah, I'm gonna go back to being a waiter.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I quit.
I mean, that's it.
That's it for me.
I want to be part of
this.
Hey,
look, man, I want to be in the movie, but I'm not licking anyone's face.
That's right. It's like, or else they were casting specifically for that. I'm here for the licking. I'm here for the face licking. Is that, yeah?
I mean, I'm sure there were. It's a good transition from porn if you're like in LA.
Yes, that's right. I'm trying to break out of that. I'm stereotyped, man, but I can lick a face. Do it all the time.
I think this movie, like on top of the action, the production and things like that, the special effects have, like we said, some horror movie stuff like The Thing in it. That you can't even really.
The ending too, especially.
The ending, and they're like, just the way you can shoot the T-1000 guy, and is it 1,000 or 2,000?
I know, there's many zeros.
T-1000?
I thought it was the T-1000. Yeah, he's
T-1000.
listed
I
as-
love how
that's
they
like
called
his-
out 2029 at one point. That was like, it's getting close. That sucks.
1996.
Well, I mean, we already passed Armageddon though. It was supposed to be 1997, so we're good there.
That's true.
That seems weird that it's so far in the past when the war was supposed to break out.
I saw this movie so young that I remember the day that the apocalypse was supposed to happen, and I was afraid. That's how
Wow.
young and stupid I was.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right. What do you know, though?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. It could be true. Who the fuck knows? Could
I
be a
know.
documentary. How
Like,
old
that
was I?
kid's mom's
12?
in the psych ward. They know.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
But this movie has like the best, I don't know, some of the best action ever, comparable to Mad Max Fury Road, which is probably the best action movie I've seen. But this movie is more than that. It's sci-fi, it's horror, it has extremely good acting. There's like a really cool plot, and the acting to solidify the plot is like, I think, really solid. I don't think there's a bad actor in here. Even Arnold is like pretty perfect.
It's not bad acting. I think that there's just some cheesy dialogue at times.
oh, the
that's,
one-liners.
I
it's
mean,
one-liner
great.
heaven.
It's
no,
great.
Some of the voiceover stuff is just like, come on.
I don't know.
It's fine.
I think it works
agree, I
perfectly.
agree. It's acted very
I think
well.
it's like I agree, in a realistic type of movie it wouldn't work, but like it sets a tone, and it works within that
You're
tone.
right. I think
really well.
it's totally fine. And you're right. Everybody is taking it very seriously in a good way. So
Yeah.
it works very well.
Especially Sarah Connor. Like there are some scenes with her in the psych ward that are just like could come out of a dramatic movie where she could be a crazy person. Like she
No, she's
believes
very, very
what
good.
she's doing, and if we didn't have the knowledge that we do from like the first movie and knowing that it's a sci-fi, it would fit in a different kind of movie too. It like
True.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. That's a good point.
And Edward
Yeah, no,
Furlong,
she's very
who
good.
plays the young John Connor, he was a nobody. They found him outside of a store, and one of the casting directors liked his look.
Oh, no way.
And he was like, he was not an actor. He was from like a bad family, quote unquote. Like he, was kind of
he fit.
He
He's
fit.
He
perfect.
really was the punk kid.
Sign him up.
Yep. He
Yeah.
took acting classes. He took motorcycle lessons, and he was
Oh,
fucking
wow.
great as like a kid actor. He was really good.
Oh, he was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah. Come on, man. Eat dirt, man. Fuck. I love his attitude. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Robert Patrick, T-1000, he's a perfect robot.
Oh,
he's like
dude,
almost
his
even better
look-
than Arnold in the
his
first
look?
one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The look he
Yeah.
had whenever he
He's more
looked pissed. Great.
terrifying.
And
Yeah.
believe it or not, the scenes, again, I watched it, and the first time I watched it without the commentary, I was like, how did they do the scenes where he's chasing the motorcycle? Because it's obviously fake, because he's running so damn fast.
Mm.
That's him running. That actor
really?
can run that fast.
Really?
There are no
Holy shit,
special
he's just
effects.
that fast.
There are no special effects in those shots.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
Not only,
Wow.
but not only is he's running, he's got to run like he's not putting forth any effort.
Yep.
Too. And,
And
like,
the hardest
it's
part
just-
for him during those scenes were where they were shooting him, and he had to like slow down and then speed back up again. So like it
Oh,
wasn't just
yeah.
like sprinting; it was like sprinting
like
and then slowing down and
dynamic.
then speeding up and then slowing down.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
pretty hard, and while keeping a completely straight face.
Right. That was the thing that's so frightening about it. That's what made him so frightening, was that just like blank stare that he had.
Yeah,
But he still, it wasn't a blank stare. At the same time, he was like menacing. Even
He
though
was.
like he managed to like pull off this like subtle, or not even really subtle, but on one hand it was like this blank robot stare, but it was also terrifying. It was also like, it looked like he was pissed at the same
Yeah,
time.
it did. It
but he
did.
wasn't like
he had
overly
enough.
aggressive in his
No.
voice or any unnecessary way. He was like calm and quiet, but
I
like
know, yeah.
then he would just sprint at you and try to like
But he
stab
still
you to
looked-
death.
He still seemed like pissed, like bent on
Yeah.
murder. Like he pulled this off. Like he could have seemed like detached or something, and that's not the way it came across at all. It came across as like, this guy is really intent on killing you.
And I like the way that these
Yeah.
movies, it's kind of like, I don't know, like a horror movie like It Follows, where you have this thing chasing you and it doesn't sleep. The whole idea of like, these things don't need food,
Mm.
they don't need to sleep. They're
Right.
just constantly like
right.
the shot of Terminator standing outside the office, and it like goes from night to daytime, and he's just standing in the exact same spot, just like not moving, not doing anything. He's just like scanning. But then
Yeah.
the other guy, the liquid metal guy, is also just like running around the city trying to find clues, just like bent on trying to kill this guy and kill Sarah Connor too. That's like a pretty horrific type of idea. It keeps the tension up really high until the scene like TC mentions, when they finally get away from him for that brief period in the middle.
Yeah.
You get to breathe for a second.
Yeah, you
and,
do.
And then like Sarah Connor goes back and tries to kill that scientist guy, and then he finds him again, and then it's nonstop tension and chase scenes until movie's
And
over.
then really loud explosions and helicopters and big guns and all that good stuff.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's hard to handle when they do this, but this guy is a sort of Superman. He can do anything. He can transform into other people. He can sound like other people. And so I think it can make it really challenging to sort of like, well, what do you do with that? Because, how do you thwart him and everything? But they again, just sort of manage it just right in terms of like, he's all terrifying, but they're still like staying ahead of him.
And he likes torture. That was the weird part. He's just like, I'm going to fuck with you right now.
He should just have
twist
killed
this into
Sarah
your
right
shoulder.
when he could just kill her. And then he can talk like her and he can look like her. So he doesn't need to have her around other than for dramatic purposes.
That's a good point.
I mean, right when he had her, like, was telling her to call John, you know, he could have just...
Maybe it takes him time to absorb their abilities. He needs to, like, touch them for a while, and it was like he needed her voice right then, so he was going to torture her. He needed to download
when
her.
He was a floor.
That's some good. That's a good backpedaling.
No, he
The
was
guy
touching
walked
the floor.
on. He's like, I'm a floor.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm a metal floor. I'm
just a metal floor. You can't tell that I'm a metal floor.
You almost stubbed your toe on my edge, but I'm just a metal floor.
Go get those Doritos, you fuck. I got you now.
When he falls into, when he's like frozen and he's in the pool, it's like, get the squeegee, get him out of there. Don't just like, go on, get him. He's in a puddle. You can take care of him.
You guys see the puddle getting bigger, right?
Well, you do something about that.
Go. What are you doing?
Well, or just get the broom. Come on, you can kind of like, I don't know, just scoop
I wouldn't
him
want
over
to
there
touch
or
him though,
something.
would you, John? Come on.
Yeah, no, but you'd feel like there's a pretty good time to take some action against him when he's a puddle.
Or at least run.
I don't know.
I was
What if
thinking
you
about
broke
that
up
too.
the puddle and put half
But it
the
looked
puddle
like
in
it
the
was
bucket?
like
Would it be like a little guy?
Yeah, you'd have two little guys chasing after you. That's fucking extra terrifying.
It looked like a lava lamp, didn't it? It didn't.
Yeah.
It was
It kind of
mercury.
looked like a lava. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the shots that looked real, it was mercury. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I think the only thing you could criticize, I mean, as a person who loves action movies and excuses all the awesome one-liners, they're really funny in this one. You know, like the line where John Connor's like, "Dude, why would you kill somebody?" And he's like, "I'm the Terminator." You're like, "Yeah, he's the Terminator."
Like, yeah, that's right. How did you not think about that? Like,
The
it's
line
literally
just
what I
writes
do.
itself right there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
You got to
I'm a
put that in.
Terminator.
And I think this movie prepares you for it because in the very beginning, it plays like bad to the bone when he steals a motorcycle. So like the first one is like really dark, right? Like it's really just very dark. I don't think there's a funny part in the first one.
No.
And it ends on a very dark note. And this one is like, Schwarzenegger's a good guy. The kid's going to be funny, you know.
But they don't let you know. I mean, you don't quite know that yet, I guess. I don't know if, I mean, they let you, they seem to be toying with you whether who's going to be the bad guy or the good guy, I guess.
Naomi hadn't watched this before, and she thought he was a bad guy until the scene in the back corridor where he shoots
until he shoots the other guy, right?
Yeah.
And that it feels like the movie, it was playing with that. I mean,
that was the intent.
If you read any synopsis or anything, even like on what's on HBO or whatever, he immediately says that Schwarzenegger's
or look at any
John
image
Connor
with
for it.
him with the kid on the motorcycle, right? You could put it together.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to kill him, but he's going to take him for a ride first. You know, it's like in Bruges, you know, going to like give him a good time first before you kill him. That's all.
And there's something about these old action movies where, especially big budget ones, where people put themselves in real danger, you know, and a lot of old good action movies have like, they don't look as good as this one. So this one like looks fantastic because it's James Cameron. And then you have these like very dangerous stunts going on and you could feel the danger while you're watching it.
Yeah.
And that's like exciting. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't go away. And that's like, it doesn't happen anymore.
I just love the one where he gets thrown onto the grill. It's still one of the best things in the movie.
Under the grill.
When he throws the biker onto the grill.
Oh,
and he gets
yeah.
I didn't know that. It's like, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No, it's great.
He's just
no, it's awesome.
It was
awesome. Yeah, he lands
impressive.
and he's like, "Oh fuck!" and then it just bobbles around and just keeps getting burned. I was like, "Fuck, that is so fucked up."
That was good.
There are scenes where like the Terminator like walks across two cars and just starts firing an assault rifle into the driver's seat of a truck. In what context could you do that? Only if there are two robots fighting each other.
That's true.
In an old 80s or 90s movie. Yeah, this movie's great. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. The action scene, to me too, the movie is super nostalgic. They're in the arcade, and I'm like, oh, Missile Command with the big trackball.
Afterburner, look at that, it's
an
moving.
Afterburner where you sit down and it moves.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I wanted an arcade like that again. So it was just very nostalgic because I loved this movie when I was a kid too. So it is, it's very nostalgic. The action scenes hold up really well, like as good as anything.
Oh yeah,
Agreed.
the fight scenes and stuff.
Yeah, they don't age, but the vehicle chase scenes are really good. Like the one with the helicopter is.
I can't even imagine how much money was spent.
They actually flew a helicopter under a bridge. That was fucking real.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That it was insane.
I don't think I realized as a kid. I was like, oh, you can fly a helicopter. I'm like, no. As an adult, I was like, holy shit, you shouldn't do that. You would absolutely kill yourself doing that.
I know.
But yeah, the blend of like the comedy, the horror, and the action again, like when you learn, and again, it'd be neat. I imagine Naomi had a good time like experiencing some of these things for the first time.
Oh, she loved the entire thing.
Yeah, right. But you learn, you just learn that he can imitate other people, and he's there in the kitchen talking, and that is terrifying. This is the first time you see him do the stab thing, like to the not the father, but the foster dad. Mm-hmm. And that's just pretty terrifying, and really well done.
The way it plays out is so good because you don't know exactly what happens because she's just irritated
she looks
and
weird.
changes.
She looks weird.
Yeah, everyone does a pretty good job at like when he pretends to be them. Everyone is like kind of human, but kind of not. Mm-hmm. Even when he's like playing the cop going to their door for the first time, he's playing it kind of straight, but you can tell there's like a little bit off.
There's like a little bit, because he doesn't have any personality.
He's not like overdoing it or underdoing it. It's like pretty damn perfect when he's doing that type of thing.
Yeah.
And her too, she does the thing. She was annoyed earlier, but she's like a little, I can't even describe how it's different, but it's different, the way she acts.
Man.
Okay.
You're not different, but you're different,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Totally.
So
I'm not high, I swear.
I have a question for you,
Yeah,
Danny.
man.
You got a question?
Definitely.
I have a question for you.
I'm good
you
with
saw
that.
this like 3 times.
Yes.
Who is Mario Kassar?
Is that an actor's name?
No. When the film starts, before anything else happened, you see his name.
Oh.
Like as a credit?
Yep.
Who is he?
Mario Kassar Presents is what you see.
Mario
Then we
Kassar?
move it-
You're saying Kassar?
Kassar. Before the film starts, this is what you see. You see Mario Kassar Presents. Before you get any other credits, any other title stuff, he's a producer. So I don't know if he just like bankrolled a shit ton of it or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever seen it that happen that way.
He's Lebanese. So
He's a Lebanese film producer.
It's Kassar.
Yeah.
Mario Kassar.
And industry executive who produced the first 3 films of the Rambo series, Terminator 2, Total Recall, The Doors, Jacob's Ladder, Basic Instinct, etc.
So that's why.
So he's just a big
talk
producer,
about putting up big money.
And I guess this was James Cameron's first huge movie, I think. This movie was huge back when it came out. It made like $500 million. It was at the time, and this is according
Terminator
to James
did well,
Cameron.
right?
$500 million.
It did well, but it was so Terminator 1 was like a $6 million budget. This movie at the time, according to James Cameron on the commentary track, I tried to confirm this online, but it's hard to look up this stuff. But at the time, it was the most expensive movie ever made. It was between $90 and $105 million.
Well, he was like getting a reputation of like going way over budget with films at that point too, isn't he? So
plus, like this is groundbreaking. This is before Jurassic Park,
right?
They used some CG for water and stuff in The Abyss. James Cameron also did that one, but like this one uses it a lot better and it uses it a lot more.
Yeah, the metal still, like I said, I mean the CG effects still, maybe just because it's like a simple metal, but the way they pull it off, and they'll even show reflections in the metal as things are happening, it's really well done. It still holds up, which is pretty goddamn amazing.
When you watch the computers they're working on to make this shit, like they're using
fill
DOS
rooms.
computers, like on the colored screens are shitty little colored screens, and it's like like you can hear the computer thinking when it goes like frame to frame.
Jeez.
But and then it pops this out. Like how the fuck does that work? I don't know.
And now we got one that'll talk to you. Make you feel nice and comfortable.
Furbies?
GPT.
Can we put a chat GPT in a Furby, please?
It's
Probably
gonna happen,
already is.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But John, you'll be surprised at a lot of the shots. Like you're saying that the reflection is good and they do reflect things off the CG, but a lot of the shots you think are CG are probably not CG.
Oh, really? Just
Really?
like what they actually have, like a dude in a mirror suit or something? Like,
Yep.
how do they really?
Mhm.
Wow. Okay.
It's
Maybe
crazy.
That explains it.
It's
Why
crazy
it
how
look
it
so
works.
bad, though. That explains it, because if it was pure computer generated, it would not look so smooth.
And the thing is, too, it's weird because when you look at the computer generated stuff, you think that doesn't look quite right. But then you look at the real stuff and you're just like, that looks exactly like the computer generated stuff. How the fuck did they do that?
Huh.
No.
Big money.
Yeah, and this
90 to
guy,
$100 million
Stan Winston, everyone calls them a Stan Winston job. Like everybody in all the commentaries, whenever something that he created was on the screen, he's like, this is a Stan Winston job. So he did he was he's a makeup guy.
Special effects guy.
Yeah. He's been in a lot of shit. He did The Thing. He was like 23. I think we did a lot of commentary on him.
That's all you need to have done.
He had I think he nearly had a heart attack on the set of The Thing because he was like trying really hard.
Man.
He did Starman. He did Edward Scissorhands. He did this one, Batman Returns, Interview with a Vampire, Island of Dr. Monroe, Galaxy Quest, Pearl Harbor, AI, The Time Machine, Terminator 3, etc. He's in a lot of stuff. But The Thing, he's the same guy as The Thing, so that makes sense. That it kind of looks
the crowning
similar.
achievement. He peaked right there.
This one has some pretty good stuff too.
Oh no, this one is good too. I agree.
Especially because you can't tell that you're seeing something that is a model.
No. I agree. I don't. No, it's just The Thing is just such a good movie. Just all together, the way it all works.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean, it's a different thing. The Thing is not
The
an
Thing
action
is a different
blockbuster.
thing? Get the fuck
Thing
out of
is a different thing. Yes.
Oh shit.
You get The Thing? Get it?
This thing is not that thing. Is what you're saying.
This thing is not that.
I
Not at
see.
all. Not the thing.
I see. Well, now we're
Different thing.
solid.
Totally different thing.
I'm glad when we get to the bottom of things, guys. I really feel like we're getting somewhere in this
I see what you
podcast.
did there.
What?
It's a good thing.
The Abyss? Are we talking about The Abyss again? Bottom of things?
sure.
What are we talking about?
That was another one interesting.
Not surprised that one's not on the list.
That movie was a very interesting movie that sort of didn't seem to go anywhere at the end.
No, they found an alien thing and then everyone was fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I mean,
wow.
though. It's like, and we're
The
done.
alien
What?
thing.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. And
Alien
we all go to
thing.
the surface and we're done. Okay.
Yeah.
But,
But what about the people who died? Don't worry about that. Everyone else is fine.
We're done.
Yeah.
Shh, go leave the theater now. But shh,
What about the
go
tidal
on,
wave?
movie's over.
The aliens decided they didn't want to kill humanity. Oh, cool.
Okay.
Got it.
I loved that movie up until it ended, and then I felt kind of pissed because it was like it just felt like it was really going somewhere. And
There's
like,
there's alternate endings to that movie. Not to get too off topic.
I don't know if I've seen
Anyway.
The Abyss.
It
pretty good.
is a really good atmospheric film and has lots of cool
It's pretty.
touches to
If you're
it.
afraid of water, it can make you feel
Yeah.
really claustrophobic because they
Yeah.
spend the entire movie underwater.
It was really
Ooh.
good and seemed to be
I like
really. And
that.
part of it's like this big mystery, and then
And then they expose the mystery, and the
theaters-
mystery is dumb.
Yes.
So is James Cameron, he was just making Avatar for like the last 30 years.
Yeah, it's really sad because like
Isn't
he's
it
kind of
weird?
the man. Like he did
well,
he did Terminator 1, Terminator 2, True Lies.
Oh yeah, I
The
didn't
Abyss.
mind that one though. That
You like
one
True
was all right.
Lies? True Lies is good.
Hey, it was great.
It's
but,
fun.
you know,
It's got
an-
cool
an-
effects.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's fun. It's got
But yeah,
it's
the
got
Abyss, it's all
Tom
water.
Arnold
so,
in
I
it,
mean,
you know?
shit, it's just like the fucking.
you can't go
thing.
wrong
She's
in a
just
movie with
been-
Tom Arnold against Arnold Schwarzenegger. You really can't.
Yeah, his whole life was been, just getting to Avatar.
Well, I mean, that's
And then Titanic,
Which is a gross.
an insane
It's a totally
amount of
gross
money.
thing to say about somebody that's this. But
Avatar
and it
2
simplifies
is
it too
doing
much.
amazingly well,
Yes,
though,
it
too.
is.
It's like, so, I mean,
Dude, this guy, I mean,
All right, he knows what
say,
he's doing.
say what you want.
Yeah.
He's apparently like a real hard person to work with too.
oh,
Because he knows what he wants and he's like strict about it. I mean, it doesn't sound that bad, but it sounds like he's real strict and he's not overly friendly. Like you get good stories about Spielberg and stuff on set. This guy's
Right.
like a dictator, sort of.
Oh,
He
well.
like in a way like Kubrick, he knows a lot about everybody's job in a way where he can kind of do it
Ah.
himself in a lot of ways.
He's like, I don't need you.
Yeah.
Get out of my way.
There were times in this
Right.
movie in the commentary where he's like, yeah, I actually had to shoot this scene myself. We had it set up as like a second unit director scene, but like for whatever reason, they weren't getting it right. So I had to come in for a couple
Right.
days and we did
Oh
it
no,
in 2
it's
days.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
For whatever
because
reason.
what does he get abusive, or is he just like, this is what I want, do it?
Yes.
I mean,
And if you fuck it up, then he
And-
might yell at you.
Like,
They didn't-
why are
they
you
didn't
doing
say
what
anything
you-
about yelling.
you wanna
but,
do?
but-
Yeah.
well, he's going to yell at you like you're a child. He's like, look, I said do this, and you did that.
Yeah.
So what part didn't you get?
It doesn't sound like
Do
he's the
this.
kind of director where like he would take ideas and think about them. You
Right,
know what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
Like he knows what he
Not really.
wants
Right.
and he tells people
Like
to do
you're
it.
here to carry out a mission,
Right.
And
Right.
it's not what you want to do.
And to be
It's what I
fair,
wanna do.
dude has like 3
He's
of the
done
highest
well.
grossing movies of all time.
Yes.
Like 3 of the top 5.
No, I think
directed?
isn't it more like Avatar
1 and 2 and
new
then
one is
Titanic.
up
I mean,
there
dude.
now.
I mean,
Yeah.
you want to work for a big movie. I guess you shut up and you shoot the
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah. For him, at least. Other directors you might want to question some of the decisions, but not for Jim. Not for Jim over
Jimmy
here.
C.
That's not the way it works.
Good egg.
What else you got,
He
John?
seems- I
on
mean,
this
yeah.
movie?
I don't have much else. I mean, honestly, I tried to do some reading up on it.
Grasping at straws. yeah.
He's got some interviews, but he's just such a straightforward guy. I mean, it's not in a bad way either. He doesn't come across like an ass, but he's just like,
and he'll
"This is what I
interrupt you,
wanna
John.
do."
Not to interrupt you, John, but he'll really interrupt you if you're sharing a commentary track with him. He'll interrupt the fuck out of you and just talk
really?
over. Yeah. It was him and his co-writer for this movie, and he just constantly interrupted and steamrolled him. And the co-writer knew it, and he like instantly shut up and stayed quiet. And sometimes he tried to bring the topic back up that he was trying to say, and sometimes he would just leave it and then move on. Because we're already past that scene by like a couple of minutes, but yeah, that was something.
What I was trying to do here is blah 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 blah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he doesn't. I don't know. At least he can talk when you get to the commentaries. I still kind of like the guy. He doesn't come across as a complete. He's just very focused and knows and is excited about what he wants to do. And he's not like. You don't see him going around blaming people necessarily either, or like shitting on other people or anything like that in terms of what was done.
Oh, it's because they don't have a choice.
Maybe they don't. Yeah,
you can't blame them. They did exactly what he said.
Yeah, exactly. He never talks about anybody else in the commentary track. He talks about what he wanted.
All about what he wants.
Yeah,
his just singular focus.
Yep. Very self-centered, but
I mean,
creative.
Fuck it, dude. He's the artist.
Yeah.
So
you can't knock it when he's like not abusing people and creating huge pieces of art.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah. That are. I mean, again, just also not only that, but generating billions of dollars.
Yeah, keeping the industry alive. Like I can't believe I don't know anybody. I know a lot of people that like movies. I don't know anybody that's seen Avatar 2 or wants to see Avatar 2.
I know who's seeing them.
Yet,
no,
it's so
totally
big.
The same.
What? Who's seeing it?
I don't get it
kids.
at all.
Yeah,
I thought it was
kids.
just kidding. I thought, maybe it is kids, whatever.
Yeah.
But they haven't
the
seen the
family's
first one. It
gotta
was
go.
like a long ass time ago that the first one came out. So like, what kids are like? I want to see the second one of a movie I haven't heard of.
No, they just see
It's
it on there, being
weird.
like, "Wow, that looks amazing. We should go see that." And the mom's like, "Yeah, it'll shut you up for 3 hours. Great, let's do it."
I mean, I don't even know why.
That
I
actually
like
clicks perfectly. No, that clicks
that
perfectly.
cynical?
I was confused until 5 seconds ago.
Right then.
And then all right, I have no more questions. That's it.
Yeah, right. Okay, we can move on from that one.
What else you got, John?
That's all I got.
That's all you got. I got a question. You questioned the movie's logic at one point. I got a movie logic question for you guys. How does the apocalypse happen the first time around if the apocalypse didn't happen to make the first apocalypse happen?
Split universe, multiple universe. The time
That's a good
splits.
question.
Where did they get
moment.
the chips the first time if there wasn't an apocalypse to give them the chips?
You have alternating realities. Like the moment that happens, you have a divergence, and you have multiple universes that then go on their separate paths.
Everything
That doesn't
ever
answer my
all at
question,
once?
John. Because in that reality, the loops happen forward in time.
Denny, it's time travel.
So
Time
you're
travel,
saying that
Denny.
the reality we're watching is actually it's not time travel. It is creating a new
what I'm
universe
also saying
in the past.
is it's time travel, and so everything else is nonsense.
You're just fucking
Once
with
you
me?
get the time travel part, it's all nonsense. So stop trying to even worry about it.
It's fun to think about, though, isn't it?
I guess it is. fun to
Is
think
that
about.
why-
But
is that why-
you've already got time travel. So now you're in nonsense land.
But it breaks
So
the movie,
you're-
doesn't it? The internal
Yeah.
movie logic of the time
Yeah.
travel, the entire plot of the movie is broken because they're putting a lot of
They
this.
save it.
Me and Naomi were talking about this before this podcast. And she's like, well,
Yeah.
maybe they got to the apocalypse eventually. And I guess if that was the case, then they would, if energy was the same, like traveling back in time, 10 years versus 150 years is the same amount of energy and they could do it either way, then it wouldn't matter how long it took them to develop these tools. So all of this stuff about like needing to destroy the hand and the chip and stuff. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there are other Terminator movies. So it might be that those things were useless in this movie.
But yeah, maybe they have an explanation.
I haven't seen the other
however weak
Terminator
it is
movies.
in Terminator 3.
Have you guys?
Yeah,
many
I mean, I
people
thought
have,
we
I don't
weren't going to
think.
bother.
Yeah, we're not going to watch
We're
it.
not
We're
going
not
to
watching
bother.
this.
No.
Yeah.
But
We're watching the James
yeah.
Cameron ones on the list. We're not going to watch whoever did the third one with whatever his name is, and then the fourth one with Christian Bale yelling at people.
There's a
offset.
Christian Bale one, at one point.
Yeah. No thanks. And isn't there a new
yeah.
one? There's a fifth one
Oh, really?
with
Yeah,
Linda
Brian
Hamilton
Hamilton
and
coming?
Schwarzenegger in it, I think.
Oh boy,
What?
Oh boy, yeah. We're not going to watch any of those.
no,
Trivia time? What do you guys think?
sure.
Yeah, I don't really have any more to. I mean, it was again. I was surprised. This is such an enjoyable watch. I think I like the original one at least as much or better in the sense that I just like the seriousness and darkness of the first one.
That's why you liked Alien over Aliens too.
Yeah, same thing. It's a good point. It's not this, but at the same time, they're just different movies. They're really different styles. They're just.
I think
going after
Alien
different things.
and Terminator 1 are easier movies to make because they're just going for one thing. I
That's
think
fair.
with like Aliens and this one, it's going for like a type of campy that's campy, but it's also like the dramatic moments are like pretty serious
Right.
and like make you feel weight.
Well-
like, is
like
how
when-
hard do you think
when
it is to have
Cameron's-
camp
yes.
and then also make you
Right.
feel like you care for the characters and like
Right,
fear
right.
for their well-being? You know, that's got to be pretty fucking hard to do.
Maybe, but I also I
yeah.
just really appreciate the atmosphere that's created in Terminator and Aliens. The first, I mean, I wouldn't put the first Terminator on the same par as Alien either, but still, you're right. It's the same thing. Both of those films are more singular in the tone, right? What they're going after, and so they just do that really well. Like in Alien, you're really in this world, and it's kind of dark and like sort of, you're like I don't know, you're like blue collar workers in space. And you really have this sort of grungy tone to the whole thing. And it's just really nice, like sort of very, very, there's a lot of depth to it, even though it's like more singular. So yeah, that's a good point though. It's a lot harder to like go after everything. They're like basically pleasing everybody, and they do a great job of it in this one. It's like, you got your
You get
comedy,
it all.
you got your action, you got your horror. Yeah.
You don't have your sex scene though. The first one had the sex scene.
Science fiction.
They're missing
Oh
the
yeah.
sex.
And yeah, that's true.
Hey, you don't need it.
Not
Nah,
really going
not in
after
this
the
one.
Michael Bay sort
No.
of horny teenager route. You're just so it's a little more high class than that, I guess.
So that motorcycle jump off the cliff, it's trivia time, by the way,
Okay.
was done with a wire. There's a behind
Oh.
if you watch the making of documentary, I would recommend getting this I guess I wouldn't recommend getting the 4K. If you get the 4K, they remastered in 4K. They released this movie in 3D like 10 years ago or something like that.
3D?
Yeah, it was like when 3D was huge.
when
and James
3D
Cameron
was
was
going to
like
be the
trying
next
to.
big thing?
Yeah, it was like Avatar came out, made a bunch of money. He's like, I'm going to remaster Terminator 2 in 3D and release it in theaters because we want this 3D
Interesting.
thing to catch on. And they did. And when they remastered the 4K, they used the film they redid for Terminator 2 for the 4K. Like it's not in 3D, but that image quality and stuff is from the 3D version. And they had to like
Okay.
clean out all of the film grain for 3D because like if there's film grain in 3D, you can like see it and there's like a screen on it.
Oh, it's like film grain coming at you.
Right. It's like you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even
freaky.
3D. I think it's just a screen. And it like ruins the 3D thing. Anyway, but like they did that and they have to like up the contrast for 3D glasses because you're looking at them through like tinted glasses and stuff. So like there's a bunch of stuff they do to make it look good in glasses and they use that for the 4K. So it is 4K, it is UHD, but the colors are all fucked up and it looks super
Oh,
clean
weird.
in digital. So like
Huh.
it's not even worth watching. So I got the 4K because it was $1 more than the DVD or the Blu-ray because no one's buying the 4K because like all the people who buy this, the new 4K things read reviews like me and everyone's like, fuck this, they fucked it up, this is stupid. So they're not selling any, so it's basically the same price as the Blu-ray. So
All right,
spend the extra $1. This is probably not interesting, but don't get the 4K Blu-ray. But so we watched
Of the making of.
yeah.
I mean, I have no idea what I watched on. I
I
don't
was
think
like,
it was
I'm
the
kinda
4K.
lost right now.
I just had HBO streaming, so I watched that.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
If it didn't look weird, then you probably got a
It
good
didn't look
version.
weird.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure I would have even noticed.
Maybe not. But yeah, if you're looking for it, you can notice for sure.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But yeah, we watched the Blu-ray and there was a bunch of special features. There was a making of documentary and there was 2 commentary tracks. On the making of documentary, you get to see him jump off. And it wasn't Arnold. They had like a stunt double with a mask on. They didn't quite say, but they had footage of him jumping off the bridge with wire. And they mentioned it was the first time they did digital wire removal in a movie. Because he had like all these harnesses. There were like side harnesses and a back harness. And they had the motorcycle and he was basically gliding down on the motorcycle to the ground. And it was
Wow.
all removed and you can't tell.
No,
No,
you
it
can't.
looks great.
It looks perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I was like, damn, he landed it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what everybody must have said. Yeah.
Opposite to that, with the truck, they really just
They
smashed
just
that
threw
thing
that
off the
fucker
bridge.
down.
Yeah.
It looks, yeah.
They just smashed it off. And
Just go for it.
and the shot of the kid in the foreground, that was the kid's stunt double, which I have a story
Whoa.
about her later on,
oh,
which is fucked. long story. I'll have a more detailed thing, but she was 26
I was
years
wondering
old.
about that, like the whoever's on the motorcycle too when it's the kid. I mean, it looks like some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah. So they did a lot of tricks for that, but I'll get into that later. I'll save that. But like that shot is all on camera. They had the stunt double in the foreground. They had the truck crashing down in the background. That was all real. Like that wasn't a trick shot at all.
Wow.
Great shot.
Great
but
shot.
the truck actually like fucked up the axles in some way when they landed it. They wanted it to keep going straight, but it landed, crushed the axle, and you can see it in the movie because it starts turning to the right and goes like up the embankment, and that's like the real shot of it falling off. But then they saw that and it was like, all right, we got that shot. So then they corrected, and when they like fixed the truck up and redid it, they started it up there and brought it back down. So like the fuck up from the fall, they put it in the movie, and it just seems
they like banked
amazing.
up at the top and then came back down, and
that wasn't intentional, but they made it work afterwards once they saw what they did.
that whole sequence is
awesome.
Pretty good.
It's
looks
amazing.
It looks
it's
pretty
so good.
Yeah.
I think that scene and the scene where it's like the tiny little truck with a wooden back and the giant tanker truck.
Yeah.
Those two scenes are just like, they're incredible. There's like almost nothing like them.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think of Mad Max, but it's a different setting. In Mad Max, you're in these open areas. You're in the desert. You're like all of those action sequences were in these wide open spaces, not in like a friggin' culvert or on the freeway. And I think that creates
like in real places.
Right. and like you can do all this crazy action stuff in Mad Max, but you're in the desert. You're not like
plus all the collisions in Mad Max are like, you can tell they're real and they look kind of dangerous, but like they're over the top and full of explosives and stuff. And in this movie, it's just like it's a truck crushing a car, and they're going really fast.
It doesn't really do much else.
And again, I was like, I even like was like, whoa, when he like hits the brakes and smashes the helicopter, smashes in the back. It's like, whoa, that was good.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, you're right. It's very different. I mean, again, at first I like bristled when you're like, oh yeah, as good as Mad Max. But I think I understand your point. I mean, it's different though. Mad Max is over the top.
Yeah, and there's less action
crazy,
scenes. I think there's like 3 big set piece action scenes in this movie. It's definitely not slow, but like there's the canal chase scene. There's the later on like truck chase scene type of thing, and then like
with the
kind of the big like hand to hand fight scene in the steel factory.
There's the helicopter one too.
Which was the helicopter one?
Well, where he's chasing him with it's the fucking helicopter one where he's chasing him with the helicopter. What do you mean? Which one is the helicopter one?
No, there's helicopters later too when he's shooting the machine gun into all the cop cars and stuff. And there's helicopters all over the place. And then the T-1000 jumps into one of the helicopters and like breaks it.
Grabs on.
Grabs him and he's like, get out.
Keeps swinging.
All right, I'm getting out.
He just throws the guy out.
And then he chases him and chases the other truck with the freaking helicopter.
I love that.
Anyway,
that's amazing.
Which helicopter scene?
That's awesome. All right, so 4. But there's less. I feel like Mad Max Fury Road has like 10
Mad Max was, that's all
scenes.
it was.
Right.
And gloriously. But like that's almost all it was. It was like 90% like action is what it was.
So I think it's a fair comparison. I mean, if I were to rank action movies, it would be a tough call, but this would be, at the top.
I remember you saying Mad Max was your number one.
I think it is, but I haven't seen this movie in like over 10 years probably. This movie is fucking fantastic. Better than I remembered it, A lot of the times when you watch these old movies, it's like, you're like, oh, I remember loving that as a kid, but like now I'm looking at it again and it's not as good sort of thing. This one's just like, God damn it, this movie's so good.
Still good.
Yeah, it is good. I loved it as a kid, but I did not appreciate the action sequences the way I do now.
Again, agreed, John. Agreed.
I don't know. Maybe I just like, whoa, that would be fucking hard to do. I had no idea as a kid. I was like, I don't know. It's movies. It's probably easy. I don't know.
Right. Think, you had no frame of reference on how difficult the production part of it is.
Right.
Yeah. And like how little chance you have to get it right. Like it's like one or two tries. That's all you're gonna get.
You only got one helicopter, dude. You're gonna. That's it.
Oh, when I was a kid, I thought movies were just like, all right, you just get a camera and you point it at a truck and another truck, and you just film them once smashing into each other, and then that's it. And then you got the action scene. You don't think about like the hours and days and weeks of like trying to get like different camera angles, like safety features, trying to like focus on different parts of the action, creating an entire like visual narrative for this type of shit. Like you don't think about that when you're a kid.
Setting up the wires that you know you're going to remove later.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
There's like little tidbits in this movie that you overlook if you're not looking for them. You appreciate them, but you don't understand why you're appreciating them. Like when he crashes the tanker truck after the canal chase, and it has just like a quick little insert shot of a gas tank leaking and a quick little insert shot of a spark plug going through the gas. and then a sound, and then the explosion happens.
Right. So
right?
they just let
It's not like
you don't need
hit
to know.
and then boom. It's like
Yeah.
hit, no explosion, couple of little shots, and then it explodes. It makes it so much more realistic feeling and cool. It's great.
Yeah. It's so true, though.
Yeah, it's great. I'm just gonna gush TC. You better
Like
get
when
used
the,
to it.
ahead,
when the
gosh,
liquid
man. That's
nitrogen,
what
when the
we're-
liquid
that's-
nitrogen comes out and
Yeah.
everything like that, that
Yeah.
was
That's
great
what
too.
we're here
Yeah.
for. That's the best thing about doing this.
The commentary track for this one is really awesome too, because for that liquid nitrogen scene, he's like, he actually had to walk through liquid nitrogen. And then the co-writer was like, really? All that shit's liquid nitrogen? And he's like, oh no, actually. And then like it was as the movie's moving forward, because like the first couple of steps are of him just walking through actual liquid
Right.
nitrogen. But then the next shot is of him being sprayed with water, and there's like mist coming all over the place. And he's like, oh no. This is not liquid nitrogen. He'd be dead.
Yeah,
They had
right.
like
There's
water,
no
they
way.
had CO2 hoses, they had like
Sure.
all this other shit. So there was so much
Wow.
going on with the special effects in this movie. And if you like commentaries, highly recommend listening to both of them, because like they were completely different. They couldn't talk fast enough for all the stuff that they
that's
had
going
in this
on.
movie.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
that's great.
For the for the channel chase scene, they had to use sandbags to stop the water flow in those channels, which was pretty difficult. And they had to like
Wow.
normally they're full of water. I don't know.
Not
Like
full,
I'm used to
but
these like
like-
But
arroyos
they're
in like
flowing.
Albuquerque.
Yeah, there's like
They're,
a water
never-
flow.
Yeah.
Like oh
Oh, the
it's
ones
like-
in Albuquerque, do they even have water in them?
Well, they're
This is
they're
in
for,
LA,
They're for the
this one.
rains. They're for the rains. I mean,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
used to seeing like the arroyos. They're called. I think they're just empty like that. But they're only like for flooding.
The
or
LA
whatever.
one kind of.
Yeah. So they had to like dam them up.
They had to dam them
It
up with
perpetually
sandbags. They had to
goes.
have a whole team tending to the sandbag dam. They had to have a whole. So that was in the back where the water was coming from. In the front,
Call for backup.
they shot this over a period of many days, and they went down the channel. Like they shot like here one day, went down a little bit, shot the next day.
Oh,
They had a team in
interesting.
back tending to the
So
sandbags,
like
team in front
sandbagging along the way.
tending to the algae. So like with all of the with all the water and stuff,
gross.
algae would grow, and like some of the water would come out even with the sandbags. So every
damn.
day for like
So
the next
gross.
day of shoot, they would like be shooting on this segment, and one entire team would be de-algaing the next day's shoot
next set.
of channel.
Oh my god! Wow.
So like they had those people
Wow.
doing that, because if it's
Fucking
with
hell.
algae, it's like makes it super dangerous to do.
Right. Like
car
very
stuff.
stuck, right?
Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To do it, it's just walk.
Power wash
Right.
that shit out, right? I'm sure that's all it was.
Yeah. But it grew back pretty quick apparently. So like they had to keep production schedule like going
wow.
because of the
Wow.
algae.
Goddamn algae.
Yeah. The steel mill looks hot, but it was
Oh, yeah.
42
Does look hot.
degrees Fahrenheit
Does
in
look
there.
hot.
It was freezing.
So it's cold.
So it was freezing.
Nice.
And all
looked hot
all
as
the
hell.
sweat
Oh,
was
that's good.
fake. They had to spray down all the actors between every
Oh,
shot.
wow.
While
'Cause
they're
they're frigid.
freezing, so
While
now
they're
they're
freezing.
cold and freezing. You
Yep.
know, even colder in freezing
Hey,
weather.
Yeah,
man.
that's right.
You know?
All the liquid steel stuff was just colored liquid that they had lights inside. So they like
Oh.
illuminated liquid. There was a
Nice.
shot of like I think it was James
All
like
that
had his
looked great.
hands.
That
It looked
looked
amazing.
great. That
There was a shot
looked-
behind
yeah.
the scenes where he had his hand in it, moving it around, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Get your hand out of there!" Like it still looked on
Right,
a
it
shitty
looks
camera.
really
it looks
good.
good.
Yeah.
yeah.
What they did to plan shots is they built a lot of the sets in miniatures, and they blocked the shots in the miniatures. Like they had a little camera
What?
set up, and they moved it around,
Like
and they
beyond storyboarding here.
yeah, they blocked shots in miniatures for this movie.
Well, that's weird.
Wow.
Why? Just because I mean, I guess that everything was going to be so expensive and so
So this was
It wa-
mostly I don't know if they. So this was I guess specifically for the factory scenes. The
Oh,
factory
okay.
was real, and they kind of they modeled the whole thing, and then they kind of instead of being walking around the factory, I think
right.
it
They
was
just
a
wanted to make
functional
sure
factory.
they really understood how everything was going to move.
Right.
In there. Yeah.
So they basically
Wow.
blocked it and thought of the ideas of how they could storyboard it with a miniature.
With the miniatures.
Yeah.
And then you figure they've got, because in the when she's outside and she gets blown away from the right in the dream.
Yeah.
That looked like a
Oh,
bunch
yeah.
of miniatures.
Oh, that's
blowing up,
another like
getting
amazing
fire.
sequence
Yeah.
that I remember. I really remember being struck by that when I was a kid.
Terrified.
Watching that one sequence. Yeah.
At
yeah.
first, I was
mean,
like,
the
"What is
ashes.
going on?" I don't remember this, and then I was just like, "Holy fuck, that is burning!"
Dude, that scene
It's
is
burning.
probably the scariest thing I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
Because I saw it when I was like,
remember being really
destruction.
freaked out by that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was 12
Like, is
and
that
I was
real?
like, really? That's what it's going to be like when we all get fucking nuked?
When we all get
because that
roasted?
was
Yeah.
a realistic. Well, I mean, not that it's not realistic now, but back then it was still like Russia was there, you know, and yeah,
They're still there. fuckers.
I know,
Yeah.
but back then it was like, I don't know. There's this unknown. At least when I was a kid, and there was this unknown fear about these bad guys that somehow we're going to have some nuclear war. And I understood none of it.
Yeah.
And so it was terrifying.
And the fact that they're killing kids on screen in that shot, it's just like,
yeah.
Oh, true. I know. Just burning them.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Really brutal.
Yes. And you're right. Again, Hamilton's acting, she's are just amazing. Not that what
She's great.
Freaking out on
And
the fence.
And James Cameron kind of like was mad at a part in the commentary because he's like, he kept pointing out how good her dramatic acting was throughout it.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just like, he was mad because like a lot of the reviews and people talking about her in this movie was like how she got kind of jacked for the role. And they talked about like her physicality and not her like actual performance.
No, they're
in the
actually
movie.
emotion or anything
Right.
like that. Just that she looks tough.
Yeah.
Which
Which
her
she does,
character.
but
She's
it fits
supposed
the
to.
character, right?
Right.
It's like, yeah.
It's not like
What else would you be doing? You'd be like,
Right.
be trained to be a soldier while you're in prison, basically.
Right. It's good for old Jim being all stand up for her there.
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah. No, she was great for the role. It's a very iconic role too. Again, as far as how she played it and who, you know.
I remember too, I was
Just that
talking to
kind of-
Naomi. I remember as a kid seeing there's a couple, like the scene where she gets licked in the face, and there's a couple shots where like you can see her arm hair. She has like peach fuzz on her face and she has arm hair on her arms. And I remember that standing out as a kid being like, weird. Like you never
didn't know
see
girls
women in
had hair.
movies with like
Yeah,
hair,
that's fair.
right?
Yeah.
Like she doesn't wax her face and she doesn't wax her arms in this movie. And I think that's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah.
As like a, self-proclaimed feminist.
It's
right
like
here,
real.
guys.
Yeah,
It's real,
yeah.
right? And movies don't show that still, really.
Yeah.
And they kind of emphasize it in at least a couple of shots in this movie, which is something.
It is something.
She trained with real weapons. She could actually shoot stuff from this movie.
Oh, wow.
I think it probably shows because she doesn't look like
Yeah,
she doesn't know how to
she
hold a
seems
weapon.
very sure of herself with that stuff. Again, her being a badass comes off really well.
The shot where the tanker truck is sliding sideways is just a bunch of tractors pulling it sideways.
Oh,
That's
was
all
it?
that is.
Did they speed it up at all or something?
No. Fast.
No?
They did a lot of this
Those
stuff
fast
fast.
tractors.
Wow.
Yeah. Schwarzenegger
Damn.
was in the makeup chair 35 times. They clocked
shit.
his hours in 6 entire days, 24-hour days. 6
God
of them.
damn.
And something that's like is pretty apparent, but like his makeup gets worse and worse as time goes on, right? So they had to shoot it in sequence because the makeup
Be
team
more and
needed
more-
time to
more
like
and more difficult.
build off of the stuff they did the day before.
Right.
So
He's getting
every
more
day,
wounded more and more.
right? They had
He's got-
more.
especially once he has the face stuff
Right.
too.
So like they had to shoot it in sequence for the makeup team because like
Mhm.
they didn't have a plan beforehand. They just did one
Wow.
thing and built on it every day. So they needed like the same thing plus more, same thing
Yeah.
plus more. So like every
Jesus.
day it was longer for him in the chair, and the makeup team had more to create after he was in the chair.
Whoa. That's fucking tough job
Pretty
right
awesome.
there.
And it looks great.
Yeah, he did. He
Just
looked
think
good. He
about the
looked great
millions
whole
of dollars
time.
he's making. He's going to be
Oh, yeah.
okay.
He doesn't
Yeah.
give a fuck. He'll sit there all day.